To get myself hyped up for this video, I had to go pet my cat. Look at this gremlin. Now, if you want to make sure this adorable being is alive, smash that like button, subscribe, and join the channel today. If you join the channel, I will appreciate you, and I'll give you a shout out in every video. First member shout out goes out to TJ Blaze, OG, homie. Now let's get to the review. What's up, guys? Level 47 here. Welcome to Watch From The Plot. What I essentially do is troll through the catacombs of the darkest parts of the internet to find animated erotic videos and then criticize them on the internet because no one else wants to hear me talk about it in the real world. But if you do, subscribe for more. Boys, this time it's the NTR special. That's right. And the way this got started, funnily enough, was I wanted to do 50 different shows, which would have been around anywhere from 50 to 100 hours worth of content. But I decided to put a poll out, and most of you guys saved my mental sanity. So we went from 50 all the way down to 4. So I don't know what I was expecting to find at the bottom of that hole. Out of 50 shows there, but it wasn't going to be my soul, I'll say that much. That thing would have been long gone after like the 10th show. So this is everyone's favorite genre to hate. Yet it's one of the most popular video reviews that I've ever made, and also a topic that stays on a lot of men and women's mind, albeit for different reasons. There are shows such as Cheaters, Jerry Springer and Maury, that revel in the concept of you cheating on your spouse and therefore making that an entire drama and you having to deal with that trauma within itself, right? And for the uninformed, to go specifically into the niche of NTR, it's basically like I mentioned before, getting cheated on, or more specifically the art of cuckoldry, as we see further on with these episodes. There have been multiple stories, creative spins on this said insecurity, and twisting them so much that they are forming memorable plots, such as everyone's favorite that I keep getting comments on to this day, Otome Dore, or, you know, classic Milk Money. And if you do find yourself enjoying the NTR genre, not me reviewing them, but the actual genre in itself, and that's how you can go about doing it, then I have one thing to tell you. Without further ado, let's dive into 4 episodes that somewhat stretch the definition of what an NTR is in a somewhat boundary-breaking fashion. So this one's called NTR Fighter, and I find this one the most interesting in a sense of they actually tried to do something with this and actually have an ending that is somewhat peaceful. Because when I'm looking at the rest of these shows, there are no good endings at all. Or the endings that do exist are just like, okay, I guess, whatever. Lethargic, very middling sort of reaction. With NTR Fighter, it is, as the name suggests, you are put in a situation where your significant other is watching you in a wrestling arena get ethered, get fucked. The entire time. Spotlights shining right in every single crevice of your body. Now, how we get there, what happens to set that up is the entire plot as well. Kind of confused the ending a little bit. So we have our main girl here. Her name is Shirosaki, who is the main victim. There's another secretary as well, but I figured her name. She just gets thrown out the script in the second episode, so it doesn't matter at this point. But Shirosaki just getting ethered, and we have her boyfriend Randy. Now Randy with his boys Harry and let's just call him Chad are rushing in the basement. They found out where he was keeping his girl hostage before the fight was happening. Because we got a flash of the fight happening, train scene happening, and then boom, we are going to the origin. So we're running to the lair, right? And then boom, opens the perfect door. Now I don't know how Randy went to the perfect door on the first try in a secret lair of multiple doors behind him, but let's just chalk it up to him having extremely well thought out intelligence.
What is that, video game?
No, Tony, we're getting hacked.
He opens the door, tries to rush to save her, glass wall, plexiglass, blocking him. Next thing you know, aphrodisiacs enter Shirosaki's body, another train ran on her. So now he has to watch that happen with his homeboy like, oh god, dude, this sucks, man, it's your girlfriend. Oh my god, what's going on? And then was that done, they lift the plexiglass, but it's only for Chad and Harry. Randy is not a part of this next scene here. What's the next scene? Chad and Harry get to go fuck her. When Shirosaki is drugged so much to the point where she's mind broken, she just sees anything in sight. It's like, please, I need to get this out of me. Holy shit. Fuck right now. Come on, let's go right now. Do it right now. And Harry and Chad like, shit, man. Hey, Randy, I'm sorry, bro. I just, you know how it is, man. Oof. Tough world. And then Randy has to see his girl get fucked again. And after that, they flash wake up to the present scene where they're showing the preview of a wrestling match. But this is where the second episode comes in, right? It was like, the whole plot of Gil, which is the boss of his entire lair, is that he did all of this, drugging and strapping up Randy and his crew to watch them see Shirosaki, to test a new drug of his to sell to a black market dealer, I guess. Only thing I can think of, because you can't legally sell this drug that makes people so egregiously horny, it basically turns them into rabid zombies with nothing but a sex drive in the mind. Like, that doesn't seem like it'd be FDA approved. That's what his end goal was. And the reason why I said it would be across the board is because when he drugged up the gang over there, they had electric nodes strapped up to their penises as well. And then they were just going off, ejaculating for the better part of like hours, just watching Shirazaki in a chair strapped. And then Onozaki comes in, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go because my boy Gil over there, who planned all this stuff out to sell it to the black market, I want that shit. It's too potent for him to have. I want to scrape off the top, or scrape off the whole, you know, the saying, scrape off the top for yourself, whatever. I want the whole loaf.
We're just getting a taste of them. I'm like, you know, I'm tired of getting the taste of it. I want the whole loaf.
And Gil let them free. And obviously Gil just runs off, and then Randy and the gang go confront Dick, who's the other guy, and Gil. And they're confronting Gil. However, Randy specifically goes back to Onozaki, who was trying to sneak around and pull out more of the drug supply so he could sell off to himself. And Onozaki's like, buddy, I freed you. This wasn't part of the deal. Leave me alone. Randy's like, no, I have to save my girlfriend. Hiya!
悪いが、おとなしくそいつをよこすんだ。媚薬の解毒にその中和剤が必要なんだ。嫌なら俺を倒していけ。俺が愛を。
逃がしてやった恩を忘れて邪魔しようってのか。あんな壊れた式状況の女に今さら中和剤もねえってもんだ。チャラくせえ。やるか？
今度こそ愛を。
Confronts him, bing bang boom. For some reason he just knock his ass out. I don't know why he didn't do it beforehand. I guess being drugged will do that to you. Regardless, he gets knocked out. We flash to Gil. He gets capacitated. And then we flash to a zoom pan outside of the entire yacht, because they're on a yacht for entire reason. So I guess that whole wrestling arena with all the crowd in this specific scene, which I can't show you that much of, is in a yacht. It must be a ginormous boat. Whatever. Coastal Guard comes up, takes him off the boat. Randy, Chad, and Harry get to go home. Woohoo! They're all living happily ever after. And of course, Shirazaki's like, oh man, this is great. I get to finally be my boyfriend. But Randy's like, damn it, I know I can never be enough. So I had to get my boys. And he tag team his homies. If your girl ends up in a situation, just take it on the chin and let the boys join in. That's basically the whole moral of that story. I don't know if that would apply to the real world, but let's just move on. Thoughts on that? I have to say it is very comical. It was very fast paced. There's a couple scenes of some other secretaries like Sally herself and Aina, for example, but it was so not focused on them. It was more focused on the plot of Randy getting back his girl, and come to find out his girl would never be the same, but he was okay with that because as long as his friends were there, then it's not really cheating, according to him. You know, again, hey, I'm not judging. I'm just explaining the plot. Yeah, it was pretty fun overall. Plot itself, I could follow. It's something that actually could be rewatchable. And I would recommend this one to you guys. I'm not even kidding. No capillary. This one isn't that bad in terms of like disparity level. It actually felt like a genuine NTR for payoff. All right, the next one is gonna be the complete opposite actually. And you can guess off the title alone, being called Humalited Wives. Now, when it came to the end plot twist of this show, I kind of got confused because a lot of moving pieces were happening here. And I got to a point where I had to rewind like 5-7 different times in the last 10 minutes because that's where everything was dropped. Give a quick synopsis and then go more into detail like I usually do. We have a loan shark company gave money to Kido to pay off for a medical bill for her husband, who was again terminally ill. And without this loan, she'd be out of debt. She wouldn't have a house anymore. So she is extremely tied to this agent named Kagami. Plot twist, the agent, not only the director of the hospital that she and her husband are being billed from, but he's also the head of the loan shark company as well. So there's a lot of conflict of interest right there. He comes over and says, hey, I can wipe the debt clean if you just give me 20 explicit videos of you doing whatever I ask you to anyone. Obviously, she signs the deal and then they walk off. And then a couple people come through that same deal, episode 1, episode 2, and then plot twist, Kagami's sidekick doesn't like that. Another plot twist, Kido's daughter gets revenge on Kagami's sidekick and everybody dies. No one's happy. The end. Doesn't that sound fun? Now, the NTR of this is very, I guess, passive because it can't truly be a cheating episode if the person who you're cheating on is terminally ill and will die in like 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not morally justifying cheating, but if there are levels to it, I'm pretty sure like having a dead spouse is like a little bit lower than having an alive one who can feel the pain and cry about it when they find out. I'm pretty, I don't want to power scale. I'm just saying. Now, they don't necessarily explain what dictates a video in terms of like what she has to do explicitly, but given the second episode is more about that in general, I assume Keto, the first woman, is doing the same thing here, because the next woman basically just becomes the LeBron James of dominatrix thing.
もう帰ってもらって結構ですよ。
もっとかかるかと思ってたよ。
もっとやられていきますか？
アホ抜かせ。それこそごめんこむるよ。ただいま。ちょっと遅くなっちゃった。
To again pay off her terminal husband's medical bills. I don't know how he's just striking these deals off. Does he call him to his office in the hospital that they're visiting and go, hey, I know this is a $2 million bill that you can't pay off possibly in your lifetime, but do you mind hearing my offer out? Again, conflict of interest. But again, it does catch up with him, so I can't get that mad. Like I mentioned before, his assistant gets mad at him for going off script because his conflict of interest makes him go a bit rabid, and instead of just having them become basically his pimped out slaves to make videos for him, he ends up contaminating the product by testing it out himself. And his assistant, Madoka, doesn't like that. She only likes it when the very, very exploited wives are being humiliated, like the title suggests, in the video format explicitly for the business, because I assume that's how she gets paid. And with him going off script and also Madoka basically being in love with him, and mentioning that passively multiple times, she ends up just clocking this man clean in the dome. They don't show the gunshot, but we're hearing this. It goes off. Next scene, he isn't mentioned at all, and the series ends there. So I assume he gets killed because he was fucking around without even realizing how much power his assistant had, Madoka. And also, apparently, right, this one little tiny plot twist, which doesn't really have any payoff because he just ended up getting killed anyway, is that our head of the entire hospital, Kagami here, was being told by the doctor, hey, do you mind not killing these terminally ill patients, man? There's paperwork here, and it'll be explicitly obvious if you kill them. And Kagami's like, did I ask for your opinion, bro? Like, oh, eat a dick, dude. And doctor's like, I'm just saying, bro, like, we shouldn't really be doing this. And then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, Madoka's like, hey, word's getting out. He got lost in the sauce of the sauce that I'm giving you. The final ending, though, is when Keto's daughter, which was their very first woman that got blackmailed, found Madoka, took the gang with her, strapped her down, had an entire like candle wax device strapped to her. Yes, she got fucked to death. It was so confusing. I don't even know if that's possible. And if it is, it came out of nowhere. So Humalited Wives is very interesting. This isn't what the NTR is. This is, again, another tier of it. This is like you being so desperate, like, oh, I have to save my entire family. I'm going to pimp myself out. And then, boom, now I'm too lost in the sauce to even realize I have a family anymore. Again, completely different from NTR Fighter. And on top of that, it just felt weird watching. Now I'm trying to think, what would have happened in my brain if I actually watched 50 of these shows? I'm not gonna lie, would I have lost it? Would I have become the next Nux Taku? I'm the Jet type, Barry Bogger's mad type. And seen every single pixel on the planet to the point where I can reference every single thing I see to the... Let's go to the next series, man. Boku No Yayoi San. I spelled that incorrectly, said it incorrectly. Who really cares? So this one, this is more of a pure NT. Actually, not even this one either, because Yayoi, husband died 7 years ago. So is that even cheating anymore? Is this even an NTR? Technically, yes, once we get past the first episode. Technically, yeah. First episode, we have Hiro just imagining his brother his girl, and then we flash to reality, and when he's doing that, he's just looking at Yayoi in the bath, and Yaoi's like, hey, and then they end up for the better part of like weeks or months at this point. And it gets so bad to the point where they are at the anniversary of Yaoi's husband's death. The whole family's there, and they're about to get it on right behind their backs, like a couple feet away. I'm like, don't you guys understand that there's levels to this. Like, I feel like this voyeurism and then you just want to get caught. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, But what they're insinuating is that she's been fiending for something like this for the better part of, again, 7 years. And even at her job, everyone's like, wow, you're glowing. Oh my God. And then the further they go in the relationship, the more deranged and demented and dominant Hiro becomes. She's creating a fiend. It gets to the point where she's like, okay, I need you to buy condoms. Now, I have a question. If you guys have been going at it for multiple times a day for about 1 or 2 months without a condom, doing everything under the sun, what is a condom going to do? What would it even, all that at that point, the only thing you don't want to catch is feelings. Like, what do we even, what's the point of that? You know what I'm saying? So he goes to the store, gets them, and then this is the turning point of the entire series. This is when it becomes an NTR, for real this time. Because Yaoi at her job, she turns around and sees, boom, biker gang affiliate. His name is Hibazuka. He's like, hey, what's up? We need to talk right now. Let's go. You were the guy that got my husband killed 7 years ago. Hibazuka's like, okay, I know you and Hiro are fucking. What are we gonna do about it? Hibazuka's like, there's one option. And he quotes Trill Sammy.
Cause I ain't come over here for nothing. Bitch, you know we is fucking.
Now, at this point, my brain sort of shuts off because after this, things don't make sense anymore. So, boom, they get it on, and then now she's fucking him for a month nonstop because she dropped this one line of this bar here, basically saying it felt so good, I'm addicted, sorry Hiro. He was basically just making her piss and shit herself. Not literally. I have to mention that literally because I've watched shows, I've reviewed shows that literally have shitting, but it's not this time. And it got to the point where like she's basically getting her that's what she wants. I don't even know anymore, man. She can't restrain herself. She has to keep going back to him. And her thought process as well, on top of that, is to say, I'm doing this to make sure the blackmail that he has over me about Hiro and me and him fucking doesn't get out. Hibazuka visits Hiro's house. Hiro's like, oh, what's up, dude? Walks out, doesn't know what's going to go on. Well, we later find out that he does know, and he has been listening and been masturbating the entire time through this entire session of them going at it. Because again, she would fuck him anywhere, fuck him outside of someone else's apartment, at the gas station, in their house, in the stove, on the microwave, the laundry room, in the shower, in his room, everywhere. And finally, like I mentioned before, Hiro's noticed all this. He decides to pull out a master plan. Hiro hits up some dudes, has Hibazuka ambushed at the level hotel they usually meet at, and then pulls up on her like, hey, you're getting punished now. And has a couple dudes that he hit up to ambush Hibazuka, basically knock him out of the picture. Yeah, they're running a train on her.
次何か悪さしたら残った弾も潰してやる。覚えとけ。
これで終わった。
これで終わった？何言ってるんすか、姉さん。まだ悪党が残ってますよ。
And I have a question though. How do you go about asking people this? You go on Craigslist and hit them up like, hey, so there's this woman who happens to be my stepsister and she's fucking somebody else, but I want to fuck her. So I want you guys to teach her a lesson to not step out of line. You can do whatever you want with her. I just need this guy beat the fuck up and I'll bet you. Is that it? I know Craigslist or something. Backpage, is that what it's called? Backpage probably. Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace would be the perfect way to get these goons out there. After that happened, we go back home and now the end of this episode, Hiro is basically treating her like a pet and is just slurping up his own. I know me getting disturbed at pet play at this point in time is such a really weird line to cross, but I saw this really weird video on Twitter of the Minnesota Timberwolves Brazil Twitter fan page tweeting out a wolf devouring some random furry animal we can't see because it's so deep in his mouth for like a minute straight, and that's just been bugging me. And now going to this pet play scenario is very funny. Episode 4 is different than episode 3 because we go back to halfway point of Hiro finding out, but instead of ambushing Hibazuka, he decides to keep spying, finds him in a park. Hibazuka's like, I find you over there, what you wanna join me, brother? And he joins, and then Hibazuka's like, hey, by the way, I got her pregnant, see ya. He leaves the picture entirely, and he leaves mainly because Hibazuka made him confess to Yaoi, and now they're raising a child together, and that's the end of episode 4. Now, what is your determination? What ending is a true ending? I feel like given the canon events happening in 1 and 2, 4 is the true ending. 3 is the fantasy ending that he dreamt up because, you know, it was a shower thought. Because I could see what basically happened here is that the 2 forks in the road were him seeing them go at it in every single place in the room and then masturbating to that. And then him thinking what he wanted to do, but him doing what he actually did in episode 4. So yeah, I don't know what I just watched. Don't watch that. Cringe, weird, awkward even. Let's move on. Finally, we have some, I almost said good content. This is also kind of weird. 9 o'clock woman. This is one of those avalanche snowball rolling scenarios where it doesn't become an NTR until the plot builds up upon itself, and then boom, it's now a full-blown NTR, which isn't how I would fully describe this, but it's barely there to the point where I throw it on this list anyway, because, you know, fuck, why not? All right, so 9 o'clock woman is about a news anchor, more specifically a news anchor woman. I don't want to misgender here. And her whole shtick is that she is a DEFCON 29 humor. Every time she thinks about masturbating, she does it. Every single time. She has a couple of dildos and a couple of vibrators on site to keep her satisfied. And it gets to the point where she's starting to get noticed by one guy in particular, Taki. And that's where the entire plot begins. So she's really professional. Out of her class. Comes on at the 9 o'clock news, no pun intended. And she has a couple of nights with the vibrators inside of her. And she's performing to millions of people across the nation without flinching whatsoever. This is a clutch performance. I have no idea how she's doing it, but shout out to her, you know. Satake discovers her degeneracy and blackmails her with it. And once he begins to blackmail, boom, his whole plan begins to have her trained specifically to sell her off to a client who was a big super fan of her. And I guess fortunately for him, she was craving being taken advantage of at this point to this extent, so it ends up working in his favor. That's the thing that exists. So is that consensual at this point?
No way.
That was episode 1, and this is when it becomes an NTR at episode 2. So we have Shimizu here, or Shimizui, who notices Miki, likes how she walks, she talks, is a big fan of her, kind of is in love with her, bumped into her in an accident, and all of a sudden, boom, and he's set. Sataki notices, he's like, all right, you want to meet her? And obviously, Shimizu's like, sure, I want to meet her, why not? And Sataki gets her all set up as if he's going to fuck her. Steps to the side and is like, hey, here, go ahead, buddy, all yours. And Shimizu goes at it, kind of confused, leaves, kind of confused, and then walks away. That basically ends the arc, because from there on out, Shimizu knows what's going on behind the scenes, but he doesn't really care because he got his nut off, so therefore he's just irrelevant to the rest of the plot. And there are other challenges that Sataki has her doing, such as walking out butt naked, meeting fans with nothing but a trench coat on, and putting multiple devices inside of her on top of having her perform in front of a camera, because his whole plot again was her being sold off. And once that finally happens, scene of her meeting her own client and her coming to terms that Sataki only dealt with her, deal her off to his client, was anticlimactic, because at the end of it, she fell in love with Sataki, obviously, and we see her on the top of a building somewhere, potentially insinuating she's going to kill herself. We don't know, but it ends off her scarf blowing off in the wind, and I assume she's just infinitely becoming a client to the end of days. Now, was it interesting? Maybe. Was it predictable? Absolutely. The premise itself of her like being discovered on air would have been interesting if she like showed any signs of flinching, but she's like has an iron will. Apparently she's Russell Wilson playing against Travis Kelce when Taylor Swift isn't there.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, that was NTR. I don't know how I feel about life anymore. I don't know how I feel about this genre. I've been recording for about an hour at this point. It was like a podcast, which, you know, I might do a podcast in the future. Who knows? And what I have to say is, unironically, depending on how you guys react this video, there might be more series of this coming up. My next batch of shows I'll probably watch would be of the more mentally depraved variety. Like, they'd be more closer to Bondage Game, Pigeon Blood, and Dark Love than anything. Because I do love the reaction of you guys being like, oh my god, this is the worst. That was it. Shout out to you guys again. Like the channel, subscribe, comment for fuck's sake. Tell me that if you made it this far. Tell me that your rent is flat or some shit. I don't fucking know. See you. And let me know what you want me to review in the comments down below. Give me recommendations right now. If you don't do it, I'm never gonna watch it. Stop it on delay. Oh, feel like I got it all. Oh, hey, feel like I got it all. Oh, hey, feel like I got it all. Oh, hey, feel like I got it all. Oh, still on the run. Life is a bitch, you still wanna fall. Run that bridges, get the heat I talk. Back against the wall, run out of love. Oh, wow, feel like stupid like cause I got it all. You become a show like you ain't at all.